All right, we have started. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Max. Really excited to be hosting this webinar for all of you today. And yes, please join the Mentimeter presentation first of all. And would be great to know if you can hear me, see me, if everything is working well on your end. That's always the most important part of a webinar. But I already see some people logging in here and some hearts coming in, so I appreciate that a lot. And our first response, Adelaide University, lovely. Josh, would you be happy to put the participation link in the chat maybe? So please do join the Menti. Of course, we're going to be using Mentimeter. Keep it nice and interactive. And yeah, let me know, what institution are you joining us from today? All right, Adelaide University representing the most right now. Edith Cohen, TAFE SA. And we'll just take a couple of seconds here to let people join. So just scan the QR code. You can also go to menti.com, enter 13974303. And you also have the link in the chat, so just join. And if anybody's having troubles, please just reach out to us in the chat as well. We'd be happy to help you out as well. University of Sydney, lovely, local. I'm based in Sydney, over in Barangaroo, so not too far away. University Sunshine Coast. Love it. All right, just giving a couple more seconds here before we get started. And yeah, maybe there's some colleagues who didn't know about this webinar, so feel free to Slack them, Teams them, let them know that this is going on right now, in case it might be valuable, but this will also be recorded, so you can always share that with your colleagues later on as well. AKU, lovely. All right, well, I think let's get started. If people join later, that is perfectly fine as well. But welcome, everybody. This is the Belonging by Design Human-Centered Teaching in Uncertain Times webinar. And yeah, really excited to host this today for you. And yeah, maybe a brief introduction from my end. So my name is Max. I'm a relationship manager here in Mentimeter's APAC office. So I'm located in beautiful Sydney, Australia. And yeah, I've been with Mentimeter for 4.5 years, actually, so quite a long time. I'm originally from Switzerland. I started working for Mentimeter in Sweden. It is a Swedish company, and then was lucky enough to open the APAC office, all to be closer to our customers in the right time zone as well. Hence, we can do webinars like this. And today it will be really about belonging by design, so human-centered teaching in uncertain times. And most of you have already logged into the presentation. In case you haven't, please do so. We will also have the Q&A enabled. So you can scroll to the bottom of your device, open the Q&A. You can ask me anonymous questions at any time. I also have my colleague Josh in the room with me today. He will be moderating the chat. So if anything ends up in there, I can't see it personally, but Josh will be able to help you out. And then at the end of this presentation, you will get the recording, the slides, and we actually do also have a template pack at the end of this Mentimeter presentation that you can use in some of your classrooms as well, hopefully. So without further ado, what is the agenda then? Well, first we'll be looking at why belonging matters right now. We'll also be discussing how to get to know your students as people. We're really going to talk about going from sage on the stage to more human-centered teaching. We'll also look at formative assessments, which I feel like personally is a hot topic at the moment. Definitely seen that kind of play a bigger role in the higher education industry, and how you can use formative assessments as a belonging practice, actually. Turning insights into action, and then we'll end it with a Q&A and a wrap-up as well. So when you hear a sense of belonging in higher education, what comes to your mind? I would be super curious to hear what the thoughts are in the room right now. All right. Feeling welcome, engagement, relationship, feeling connected, valued, engagement. Love that. Ownership, good one as well. Engagement, I love that. That's what I spend half of my days talking about. Obviously, Mentimeter is an engagement tool, so very relevant here. But yeah, feeling valued, identity, welcome, relationship, connected. I think we're all thinking along the same line, which is amazing. Building community, yeah, I love that as well. So I totally agree with all of these. But why does belonging matter right now then? And look, higher education is truly navigating a lot of uncertainties at the moment. And at Mentimeter, we really believe in one thing, and that change is the only constant. And I really feel like there's a lot of change going on, especially in the higher education institutions, which maybe typically have been a bit more traditional, a bit more stable. And yeah, this is in various areas. The first one is really enrollment pressure. Institutions trying to, of course, attract different students, also a lot of change in the courses that they're studying today. So there's really been a lot of pressure on institutions to try and find and attract the right type of students as well. And also, for example, with different institutional fees, it's also making sure that, yeah, there is equality and an opportunity for everybody to study. So that's really important. Then, of course, burnout, high pressure environments, a lot of stress as well. The AI disruption has been a massive one in the higher education industry. A lot of AI tools being adopted, a lot of worry regarding assessments with students using AI adoption. Shall we adopt AI? Should we not? What kind of restrictions do we want to have on that? So really a lot of uncertainty in the technology space as well. And then, of course, rising student expectations too. I think, of course, university's ranking is super important. It's a very competitive environment as well. Students are spoiled for choice. They have a lot of opportunities. They can travel internationally to go study. So all of these become a big melting pot of uncertainty and things that we all have to navigate, and also the institutions themselves as well. So these are just some articles, and I'm happy to share some of the sources that we've been looking at. And we at Mentimeter, it's really important for us to stay on top of these topics, to understand your pains, the students' pains, and to also try to adapt our product to the new needs that are up and coming, whether that is AI or not. So we're really spending a lot of time trying to truly understand what is important to you, the facilitators, to the students, to the institutions, and how we can try and help as much as possible there as well. And hopefully this webinar is one way to do that. But when we speak about belonging, we at Mentimeter, we really believe about making people feel seen, heard, creating psychological safety for them, and also making sure that it's very clear to them that they matter here, that they have an impact. So people really want to be seen as a person, whether, gender or their belief systems or anything. It's really important to create an environment where it is safe to try for students and where it's okay to be wrong. It should really be a safe space, and, there should be no social repercussions or feeling stupid if you've gotten something wrong. Rather important to make people try and fail, because that's where we learn. Of course, we want to make sure that we are connected to peers and instructors in our institutions as well, really creating that sense of belonging again. And like I mentioned before, able to participate without high social risk as well. And today, it's truly not a nice to have to create belonging in a classroom, but it's really a foundational piece to encourage learning, persistence, and well-being for the students as well. If we get this first building block, a more foundational one, correct, creating this sense of belonging in the classroom, it will be a lot easier to create an environment where students will be learning and where their well-being is good, healthy, and a safe environment for them to participate as well. But I would love to hear from all of you. To what extent do you feel that your students experience a sense of belonging in your classes today? And really just take a second to think about this. We have a scale question from not at all to very much. And yeah, this is a great opportunity to be honest, to take a second to reflect about the lectures or the classrooms that you are maybe running, or even your internal meetings, depending on your role. And the good thing is that this is anonymous. So there are no right answers, there are no wrong answers. And yeah, you will not be held accountable for anything. So to what extent do you feel your student experience a sense of belonging in your classes today? Now, there has been a recent update to Mentimeter where the standard is to not show the responses live in the moment anymore. As you can see here in the bottom left, I need to actually click to show the responses. Now, this is really intentional. At Mentimeter, we want to try to reduce the bias, get people to participate as honestly as possible, and to potentially not be influenced by each other's opinions or votes first, but better to do that later. So here in the bottom left, I will be able to show all the responses at the same time, which I will go ahead and do as well. All right. Pretty good score, I would say. Not bad at all. We're somewhere approximately in the middle. Some people thinking that their classes really create a sense of belonging, which is, of course, great to see. And then some people also, yeah, maybe not as much as they're hoping for, and that's the reason why they are here today. So definitely some room to improve as well. And of course, it's also a great opportunity for others to share their ideas on how they do that and to start that dialogue, start that conversation as well. But wherever you are on the scale, the goal is truly one small shift. So if we were to connect in 6 months, hopefully you would be one step up. This topic can be a little bit overwhelming, but again, even a small shift can make a massive impact. So just keep that in mind. But getting to know your students as people then, well, why people first actually works. So belonging truly starts when students feel seen as people and not just learners. Everybody's different. We really want to acknowledge the person that is entering the room. And we really need to increase the psychological safety. Trust and psychological safety is really, again, one of these foundational building blocks where we can really make sure that people do feel seen and that we do have a people-first approach in the classroom as well. If we do that correctly, the following outcomes will be a lot easier to achieve, participation, that engagement that we were talking about before as well. It builds relational trust between you and your students as well. And it also makes participation really feel worth it. If, for example, there is no psychological safety, or if the class thinks it's ridiculous what I answered, well, why would I do that again? That would not be worth it for me. Whereas if it's very psychological safe, people are appreciating the ideas that I'm bringing up in a classroom, then participation will feel worth it. And again, if you do that multiple times with multiple people, that will also compound over time, so to say. So I do have a question here. What's one small thing that brought you joy this week? I would love to hear. Now we're only halfway through the week, but I do hope that something has brought you joy this week. So please feel free to share with us. My adorable pet ducks. I love that. I wish you could upload a photo in the chat. My bathroom scales, Fringe Festival, my dog, a chocolate cake, sounds delicious. Be a present mom, the moon. Josh, what about you? What brought you joy this week? Playing golf?
Yeah.
Love that. Full lecture theater. Oh, very nice. My dog, positive doctor feedback. All right, I love this. Amazing. A lot of joyful things happening this week. Lovely to see. And why did I ask this question? Well, this is just an example of something that Daniel Roca does. He is actually an instructor in cyber and defense and cloud administration. And he really starts every session with a question that is designed not just to break the ice, but also to build trust, spark conversation in the room, and getting to know your students a little bit better as well. An example of a way that he does this as well is something so simple. He just shared that he had gone on a hike, and a few weeks later, he found a way to incorporate that into the course, and he took the entire class to do the same thing, actually. And he had this iconic photo, lovely photo here of Daniel. And just something that they decided to do was to recreate that photo on the same hike, which then became a little bit of a meme in the classroom. And again, just created something that they could build a bond around and get to know each other. And again, creating that sense of belonging amongst colleagues and peers as well. And today, as a result of that, Daniel really feels like in his classroom, students feel safe amongst each other to raise their hand, sharing their ideas or asking questions with great intention, even if they are maybe going to be wrong. So again, that psychological safety and that connection between each other, really creating that sense of belonging, which then is helping him to improve their learning experience and their overall experience in the classroom as well. So sharing about your hike seems like something very small, actually, but the results can be quite significant if you are really intentional and thoughtful behind it as well. So really love this. This is a customer story on mentimeter.com/stories. And we really have plenty of stories there, which I always recommend checking out. They're great inspiration for you to see about how other people are using Mentimeter as well. But with that, I want to give you the first belonging design principle, and that is something so simple, question of the day. So some examples include what's one thing you're curious about today, maybe what's one small win from this week, one word of how you're feeling today. And again, just very simple how to run it. Anonymous responses first, maybe reading a few out loud, and then if possible, also connecting that to today's topic in any way possible. So very, very simple, but a great way to start a lecture or a classroom. Then I spoke briefly about Sage on the Stage to a more human-centered teaching approach. And we really want to go from just simple delivery, one-way communication to a more relationship focus and responsiveness. So really human-centered approach. And that's done by structure and care. So really like less performing, less being on the stage in the middle of a lecture, for example, and just speaking to your students, which of course is a good way to teach as well. But ultimately, we also want to try and have a more human-centered balance as well, where we're, for example, really designing conditions for participation too. And we're also including smaller, more frequent feedback loops where we're able really to check in on the students, for example, and their learning as well. And I do have a question for you. What's one moment in your classroom where participation often drops? And this is really a challenge that a lot of our customers are facing. There will be a certain point in a classroom where that participation does drop. It is quite hard to keep people's attention span over an hour, 2 hours. So is there any specific moment where you feel like, in particular, participation drops? I'm just looking at the chat and I see the photo of the ducks. I love that. That's amazing. Halfway through the session, yep. So I think the average attention span is approximately like 10 to 15 minutes. So the lectures are definitely a bit longer than that. So tough to do. After lunch, yep, food coma for sure. Boring content, yes, fair enough. I understand that. Before dinner, end of the day, yes, people tired. Rarely in on campus, regularly online classes. All right. This one is super interesting. Really like that comparison. Hopefully that's gotten a bit better with more students going in on campus. And yeah, maybe just really important then to use something like Mentimeter, right? When you are facilitating online, where it can be really hard to gauge the interest of the room, to see are people still paying attention. I'm not sure if you still have cameras on or off. So also using Mentimeter to kind of understand where, in which slides or in which parts of your presentation that participation drops as well. When an activity goes for too long, online tutors when asked to contribute. Yes, those awkward silences. I think Mentimeter does a good job at avoiding those, again, because hopefully you're able to spark more contribution when it's anonymous. So that's a great one too. Open floor, shyness, half an hour in. Now before you pack up. Amazing. Well, thanks for this input. I just want to quickly highlight the grouping function as well. So I've actually gotten 10 responses now, and Mentimeter is urging me to press the space button to group responses. So I will be able to do that. I'll just go ahead and press space on my keyboard here. And now Mentimeter will automatically categorize the different responses I've gotten into kind of clusters or groups. So really nice for me to get that high level overview of like what are the themes that are emerging here, and especially when you get a lot of responses too. So here we can see online classes, meal times, activity duration, and boring material as well. I can press space and I have these individual responses again. And this will become relevant for an exercise that I will share with you later on as well. So yeah, definitely recommend using AI when possible. And just a quick follow-up here then, what might make a student feel hesitant to speak up in a classroom? Language barrier. Yeah, I really like that one, to be honest. I think a lot of the times we take that maybe a bit for granted. I think especially with international student bodies, really important to keep language top of mind. And I think Mentimeter can actually be a good barrier for that as well. Maybe somebody who's speaking English as their second or third language doesn't feel as confident to speak out loud. But again, with like keyboards or translations or autocorrect, it might make that kind of the cost for participation a little bit lower if they're able to enter it through Mentimeter too. All right, lack of confidence, feeling unsafe, shyness, getting it wrong. Didn't prepare for class. Fair enough. I like that one. 100%. I agree with all of those. And the reason why I'm asking that is because we really want to try to lower the cost of participation. And I think you guys were alluding it to the reasons very well, but we really want to give students a low risk first step. The first time participating is always going to be the hardest, but if that is a comfortable experience, a successful experience, they're much more likely to contribute or participate that second or third time as well. So think about how can you create an environment where that first step is as frictionless as possible. And a way to do that is to use the anonymous aspect of Mentimeter, any other tools that you're using. Again, people feel psychologically safe when they are able to express themselves in an anonymous format. And speaking of formats, think about multiple ways where people are able to contribute on voting, asking Q&A questions, typing, speaking, pairing, speaking with other students, for example. And this can be both traditional methods, paper and pen, sticky notes, whatever you have in the classroom, but it can also, of course, also be digital tools such as Mentimeter or anything else, Miro boards that you're using. So really putting thought into this and what does the participation or cost of participation look like today in your classrooms as well. Moving on to formative assessments as a belonging practice. And yeah, I think formative assessments, it's all about checking the learning ongoing and maybe not in the same grading way that we're usually used to. So it's also really about signaling care. And I think it's a great way to do that. So belonging grows when the course responds to students and not at them. And you as a facilitator showing that you really want to understand genuinely where a student is in their learning journey and adjusting the course based on them or the class as a whole. I think that really signals and reflects to the students that you genuinely care about them, their experience, and that, it's important to you as well. And it creates a shared responsibility for the learning. Of course, there are certain expectations on a student or a teacher, but the formative assessment is a great way for you both to come to the table and to really have a healthy conversation around where a student is and how their experience can be improved as well. But with formative assessments top of mind, how do you usually check for student understandings currently? Do you maybe ask verbally, very ad hoc, hands up, yes or no? Are you mostly relying on final assignments? Do you use interactive polls throughout your classroom sessions? Or are you using another way to check in on your students? All right. Asking verbally, interactive polls. I rely on final assignments. Yes, that is kind of the trend that I'm feeling in higher education. A lot less focus on that, I would say, but more continuous check-ins, which is great. Of course, interactive polls, super important, used in a lot of higher education institutions. And somebody with something else. Feel free to add it into the Livestorm chat if you feel comfortable to do so. I would be curious to hear more about that. Great. To my third belonging design principle, and this is the 2-question check-in. So we were talking about participation, maybe dropping off halfway through class. And this is a really simple way to create a bit more belonging as well. So my recommendation is the first question: how confident are you right now on a specific topic or something that you've been discussing in the classroom? And then following up with an open-ended question: what's still unclear, for example. And this is really a great way to check in with your class, check the energy levels as well. And the way that I would run this is, of course, anonymous responses, acknowledging patterns. So I showed you before the grouping function. So I think that is a really great way to do that. In the open-ended part, get all the responses from your students, group them, and then see what are the patterns that are emerging. And this really will enable you as a facilitator to adjust the pace, re-explain any concepts that are necessary, identify any kind of issues that are reoccurring, and how you can adjust your teaching style to accommodate for that specific classroom as well. And of course, using your own expertise, sharing a quick strategy. Hey guys, let's try this approach, or trying to offer solutions for the students as well that might work. And finally, my last design principle for today is making learning social without forcing it. And at Mentimeter, we really use a very simple framework called Think, Pair, and Share. And this is really to encourage, again, a bit of a social setting to encourage learning in a group. So what you want to do is you want to create small groups with specific roles. So there should be a timekeeper, perhaps a summarizer, or a question finder. A question finder is maybe somebody who is like taking questions, writing them down that you can ask later to the facilitator or to the class as a whole. And whatever your activity is, you really want to encourage the thinking first in their own time, then pairing together, discussing that as a group, and then sharing it back to the classroom through a mentee or sharing out loud as well. So typically one person here in the office will share with the entire team, but then also the other members of that group will be adding their learnings or findings into the Mentimeter presentation. This is super valuable because these insights can then be shared to all audience members at a later stage, and you also won't lose those insights once the classroom is finished, for example. And finally, turning insights into action. We really have a very simple template pack for you here. you can use the hyperlink, so you can click on it right now. But again, I will share this deck with you at a later stage, and you can go in here and pick up the template pack. So my encouragement is choose one simple activity for your next class, either question of the day, maybe that mid-class confidence check, think, pair, and share activity, and try to facilitate this. See what the impact is, how the students are reacting to it. And again, like every small step will have a big impact. And then hopefully you will be able to maybe use the different method the next time, or see what suits your needs the best as well. All right. That's about it. We got some time for some questions as well. And I'm surprised, not a single question in the Q&A. Usually webinars are flooded with questions. Did we get anything in the chat, Josh?
No, just a couple slides, but they've been answered.
All right. Well, this is your opportunity to ask me anything Menti related or sense of belonging, and I will give my 2 cents on it. So yeah, do we have any questions from the audience? I'll just leave this up for a couple seconds, maybe half a minute, just give you the opportunity to ask me anything. We do have one question in the chat. How to best pair my PowerPoint with Menti? All right, great question. So my genuine recommendation is to upload a PowerPoint presentation to Mentimeter. So if I was an instructor, I would finish my PowerPoint, all my content that I want, and then I would upload that PowerPoint to Mentimeter, and everything will stay the same. It's ultimately uploading photos of your PowerPoint presentation, and then I would include my interactive slides in between. So any polls, Q&A. And the reason why I would do that is because Mentimeter has the interactivity, the moving parts, and that's what we're reliable for. So the experience will be a lot smoother on the Mentimeter platform itself. So that is how I would do that. But we do also have a PowerPoint integration if you prefer to bring Menti to PowerPoint. Correct. So animations will not follow through if you're uploading the PowerPoint. However, with the PowerPoint integration, animations actually will. So I'll just quickly jump out of this presentation and show you the difference. So first of all, we have the integration tab here, and this is the PowerPoint one. So if you use this with the live link, animations will follow through. However, for a smoother experience, you can also import files, so PowerPoints or PDFs, and then they will upload as static photos. So just keep that in mind, whatever your preference is there, I would choose the upload. I think we have more. Are you able to describe how to embed the templates into Menti I am creating? Yes, for sure. So the templates are just simple questions that we have provided for you. One sec, I'm just opening them right now. All right, so can you see my tab now? Templates?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, perfect. All right. So this is the template pack that we have created for you. So what I would recommend is just choose, first of all, which activity you would like to do. Would you like to start with question of the day, a mid-class confidence check, and think, parent, share activity? Maybe not all at the same time. You don't want to overwhelm the students, especially if Menti is something new to them or they're not so familiar with it. So just start off with one of them. And then what you can simply do is you can choose this. You can go in here and copy it to your own presentation. So copy to my presentation, and then the Menti will be ready to go. And then you can simply just delete these other slides that you don't need, or you can keep them if you like as well. But then just simply ask your students to log in. Just present that presentation at the start of the classroom, for example, and yeah, just see how it goes. And again, trying your best is the most important thing. Students are very patient if the technology isn't great the first time, or you're not as confident. So just taking that first step is always the most important as well. I like the upload too, and integration sometimes fails with lectures. Yeah, I prefer the upload as well. I really enjoyed this question of the day and the meme. Yeah, exactly. It's such a fun, cool little story. So I really recommend that. Some students take too much time in answering. How to overcome this? Great question. So in Mentimeter, we actually have pacing. So pacing in a Mentimeter presentation means that even if you are moving on to the next slide, the student will still be able to respond to the previous question unless they've submitted a response. So this really tries to help kind of manage the pace of a Mentimeter presentation. Of course, unfortunately, you could theoretically go back and check after if anybody added further contributions, but just really making sure that you have enough time. It's probably better to ask fewer questions, but really have the time for students to answer and to acknowledge their responses in the classroom live in the moment, rather than packing in a lot of content and a lot of questions and having to like zip through all of them quite quickly. So just trying to maybe do less with Mentimeter, fewer questions, but therefore having more time to dig into detail as well. Great question. All right. How can I import the template you provided into my Menti account? So there should be a little button in the top left saying copy to my presentations. It's a plus sign and you'll be able to copy that into your own Menti account. Do we have a help article for that? I'm not sure. All right. Any suggestions for how students can keep a record of their own responses, contribution to a Menti? Yes, absolutely. Great question here as well. There are multiple ways to do this. So the first thing that we have available is participant names. So participant names will look a little something like this, as you can see here, where a student is able to input their name. This is free text, so they can also put in a nickname. And then you will be able to track their responses directly through Mentimeter and link that to their name. So for example, if a student did that, and then you would share the results with them, they would be able to see what they've responded to. This is, of course, really valuable. Oh, did I just cut out? It's just important safety. There's a high level of trust where you know that people are actually inputting their name and not maybe putting in a nickname or somebody that they're not as well. So I would turn this on, participant names, and then people are encouraged to put in their name when they join a Mentimeter presentation. We also have verified participants for our campus-wide customers. So that is where they have to log in with single sign-on to verify themselves, and then you can identify their responses too. And we also have an LMS integration coming up. So some of our customers have been on the beta version of that. The full rollout is on the 2nd of March. Again, this is available to our campus-wide customers, and there you will be able to track what students said what. There's also scoring. So this is definitely one way that you could do that as well. Great question. Anything else in the chat? Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. But it still remains anonymous during sessions. Don't apologize for many questions. That's why we're here for. I think that's one of the most fun parts of the webinar is answering questions. So which LMS? We have Canvas, we have Moodle, we're working on D2 something, sorry. And we have Moodle, Canvas, and Blackboard. That's the other one as well. So those are the LMS that we are covering. And yes, you can choose whether a Mentimeter should still be like, you can verify participants, so they have to log in with SSO, but they're still anonymous. Or you can have them log in and they are identified. So there are different switches that you can turn on depending on the use case as well. Yes, correct, exactly. So with an LMS integration, student names can still be turned off so that you have that psychological safety. There's still the anonymous aspect. And that can be like in the results too, or that can also just be displayed. So for example, in the results, there could be no names, but you as the presenter can see who said what after in the results. So there's really a lot of customization options depending on the use case that you have and what are you trying to achieve as well. Great. Love it. Yes. Amazing. Cool. It's a really great use case and super powerful as well to track attendance, learning, offering support for students who maybe aren't tracking or so confident in specific topics. So yeah, extremely powerful there. All right. If there are any more questions, this is your chance. But hey, thank you so much for this. Belonging is a practice. Really small intentional moments do compound over time. Every small step makes a difference. And it's as simple as sharing about a hike. And you saw what the results were of that. When students feel they belong, learning follows, and same for the faculty. When they feel supported and encouraged, innovation follows as well. And these are two really important aspects in higher education. I will send the recording, the slide deck, and the template with you via email. And please don't be a stranger. You're always welcome to reach out to me. But also, if you are interested in exploring Mentimeter for your institution, you can just press this link, fill in the enterprise form. We'd be happy to have a chat with you. And yeah, just to make Mentimeter more accessible, easier for you to use, and yeah, happy to discuss the different options that we have available. So feel free to enter the enterprise page there. I've also included a couple resources in this deck that I will send out to you after. We do have our help center. We have some blog pieces as well. Some really great content there. Honestly, we also have some great templates, and you can always reach out to hello@mentimeter.com, or we have a chat bubble in the bottom right. You'll be connected to my fantastic colleague, Josh, who's in the room and moderating today. He's an expert at what he does, and he's supporting you in APAC time zones as well, which is fantastic. And with that note, I would love to hear from you. What's one small thing you'll try in your next class to build a sense of belonging? And if you have any feedback for this webinar or any of the content or thoughts, ideas that we shared with you, please let us know. Always trying to improve the way that we host these too. Amazing. Yes, Louise, the pack will be in the Mentimeter presentation. So just go to that slide and there will be the hyperlink there. Question of the day, love it. Low risk check-ins. Question of the day. All right. Question of the day is a popular one. I like it. Ask how students are understanding the content. I like that one a lot. The scales question is a great one for that. Do it at the beginning of your classroom, again at the end of the classroom, and show the students how much they've learned over that hour, 2 hours. Think, pair, share, used before, need to do it again. Yep, definitely encouraged to do so. All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much for this. More regular check-ins, absolutely. Again, thank you so much for joining today's webinar. And yeah, I'm hope to see you at the next one. And thanks for your participation. It was fantastic. Thanks, everyone.